So today we got Dr. Donnie Wiggins from Ohio. That's right. Living in New York now. We went to Tufts together. And so Donnie, just tell me a little bit about your dental journey. You know, how you ended up in dentistry, where you went, how you started this, this whole process.
So my dental career started early in this vocational program that I had the opportunity to do in high school, where half the day I would do high school, the other half I would do dental assisting program, which was really cool.
Question, did you decide to do that, or you were just placed into a dental?
So my mom told me that I had to do this program and I had to make a decision of one of these programs, and they had dental assisting, nursing, EMT, graphic design, something with construction. So I had options.
Why dentistry?
So to be honest, the instructor at the time was super charismatic, high energy, and she made it seem really cool, really fun. And so
she was good looking.
She was good looking, and also, I was in high school. There were a lot of girls around, so I was like, "Oh, this could be kind of fun."
Okay.
But then I got into it, and I really enjoyed it. Was really good at it. Some of those people are still my friends now today. So it was a great opportunity, and that's what led me into dentistry.
And that was all of high school, or just?
So that was the last 2 years of high school. Junior year, senior year is when we did that. And then I graduated with a certificate in dental assisting and radiology. And if I wanted to, I could go and just work as a dental assistant straight out of high school.
Okay.
But obviously, I went the whole way. Went to dental school at Tufts, as we talked about, as we know, obviously. And what's got me started and what I'm doing today is noticing the waste that is produced in dentistry. Yeah. And I noticed it by working on each other when we were training, and saw the collection of toothbrushes and toothpaste and plastic barriers and things like that. And so did some research, found out that 1 billion toothbrushes are thrown away every year, which was just a crazy statistic that I found, and really kind of propelled me into action. Yeah. So ended up creating a recycling program at my school through this company called TerraCycle, and we were recycling oral hygiene appliances, toothbrushes, toothpaste tubes, floss containers, all the packaging. So that's where it started, and then COVID happened, and the program was shut down for a while. But I still wanted to do something, and at the time I had a relationship with the dean of research at the time, who's now my partner, and we came up with this idea for a biodegradable toothbrush.
Would you say this was a COVID project? You did this while you were away?
Yeah, I would say it was a COVID project because it started in COVID, and we were all remote, and so we were just trying to find something to do to promote the original idea of recycling toothbrushes. Okay. And so I ended up meeting him, and we came up with the idea of a biodegradable toothbrush. Which these things already exist. There's the bamboo toothbrushes, and there's other products out there. But a lot of them just, I feel, haven't resonated with a lot of consumers. And so talking to my partner, Jerry Kugel.
Also, why do you say it doesn't resonate with consumers? You just feel like they haven't had financial success, or just who you've talked to?
I think they were just a little too early, and people weren't really behind the idea of true sustainability in terms of their lifestyle. People were transitioning from the straws because frankly they were forced to. That was the only option they were given. Okay. And then other things were okay, now people are starting to use washable, Stanley, and things like that. But in terms of a toothbrush, it felt different. The bristles were different. It would fall apart after a certain while. Sometimes it would splinter because of the bamboo. So because of those reasons, a lot of people, I feel didn't resonate with it because of that. Okay. And they wanted to keep to their traditional toothbrush. And so what we use now is a silk material that we process a certain way, silk made from a shirt. Yeah. But we process it a certain way to create a hard bioplastic that emulates a normal plastic.
Do you have what was your major in college? Do you have a background in?
No, so my major in undergrad was biology. I got a master's in biomedical sciences. Okay. That's
So like,
no engineering background, no product design.
I'm just
or
like,
development.
I'm always interested. Like, does Dr. Kugel have this?
Yeah, so Dr. Kugel has a
Okay.
lot of background in research in general, but also in materials.
Was he working with silk?
He was working with silk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like out of left.
No, it wasn't
Okay.
out of left field. No,
Okay.
I had come to him with like, oh, what about like a biodegradable toothbrush? And he was like, oh, actually, I've been working with a material that is being implemented in medicine a lot lately, which was silk.
What was he using the silk for?
So he was using this. He was just like studying the material. So and
to
making
use it for like a crown or something, or
no, like I think it was more so of the route of what we're doing, but more dental related. Like maybe like a container for a composite gun kind of thing.
okay.
Yeah. Something
So,
like
so he was like in the sustainability realm.
yeah.
Okay.
Right. Exactly.
I thought he was like material science.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff in materials, and that's why he started dabbling with silk. Also,
Okay.
he had a close relationship with our other partner, who was the head of the silk lab at the main campus at Tufts.
Oh, so there's like literally a lab dedicated to
There's
silk.
a literal lab called the Silk Lab at
Okay.
Tufts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I keep on thinking of the Silk Road, but the Silk Lab.
The Silk Lab.
And like people go to Tufts to study silk
Yes.
at the Silk Lab.
Yes. And there's a lot of grants behind that lab.
Is this like a well-known thing, or like I'm just?
No, it's a
Living
pretty
it up.
well-kept secret, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a lot of people know about it, but there's a lot of research that goes
Like,
on there.
And are they doing silk mostly for medical?
Yeah,
stuff?
they do it
Okay.
mostly for medical stuff. Yeah.
It's like when I think of silk, I'm thinking like you said, like
right,
t-shirts,
clothing and stuff. But they use it for medical because it's biocompatible, it's biodegradable. It will completely disappear over time,
Okay.
and it also can help facilitate different things like enzymes, proteins.
Stupid
things like
question.
that.
How is silk made? Like where do we get silk from?
So silk is like from a moth. Like there's like moths that make the silk.
Moths?
Like a moth.
Oh, moth. Sorry.
Yeah,
moth.
like a moth.
Yeah.
And so like that's the animal that like makes silk.
Okay,
But
so
the way that we process
So like
it,
the silk lab has moths.
they have moths and they also
Okay.
have like silk cocoons. So they have like the eggs essentially.
Okay.
And so that's the way that we processed it. We took it at its primal stage of like the silk cocoon,
Okay.
and then processed it that way to make the hard bioplastic.
Got it. And also taking so Dr. Cook was like, look, I know the silk lab.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
He's
He's like, here's all this stuff to read.
Yeah.
And like, this is how we do silk, or like you went to the silk lab.
No, so I went to the Silk Lab. He introduced me to our other partner now, David Kaplan,
Right.
and he introduced me to one of his PhD students.
Right.
So it was me and the PhD student under their regime, I guess, working in the lab to make the product essentially.
Okay.
And so there was no like formal like, this is silk, this is how you do it. Like we just, she knew what she was doing because she was getting her PhD under that lab.
Yeah.
And so I came in saying like, okay, this is what we're trying to do. Let me know how to do it, and then we'll do it. And so we ended up doing it together. So she taught me the process, and then we had to do that. We worked on it for like 3 years to create an actual tangible prototype.
Did you think it was going to take you 3 years when you
No.
first started?
Oh my God, no.
So, at what point through the journey were you like, this is not going to happen? Like, this is crazy.
I mean, like, towards the end when I was about to graduate, we were like very close to like still not getting what we wanted.
Right.
And I was starting to get to a point where I was like, okay, maybe we can't create what we think we can. Because every time we would create a prototype, either it was like too thin because we were making toothbrush handles to start. And we couldn't get it to the right thickness, and also it was taking so long the way we were processing it originally.
Yeah.
And we were like, this isn't actually equitable to someone if we want to do something with this.
Okay.
So we were changing the way that we were processing things, and then we tried to make a prototype, and then it didn't come out. Then we would tweak things in terms of the process, make the prototype, didn't like it. So it was a lot of back and forth.
Got it. And like, do you guys have like a grant for this, or is this like someone's like research topic? Like how
To be
is this-
honest, I don't know how we ended up getting the funding to like, because
Oh, you have funding for it.
we had, someone was funding us to be working on it in the lab
Okay.
because,
Like they're PhD students.
right, exactly,
Okay.
yeah. So
So you have like a mini PhD in silk.
a little bit,
Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
a little bit, yeah.
So yeah, so someone was funding it.
Someone was funding
But
it.
you didn't have to do
I didn't have to deal with any of that, yeah. So I think that was between Kugel and Kaplan that they figured something out for us to do this.
So this seems like this project like had to happen while you were in a university setting,
Right.
in order to get like the research part done, because
We would not have had the facilities otherwise.
You
if
can't
we
open
didn't.
up a silk lab.
Right, exactly.
I mean, do you even know how many silk labs exist?
I don't know.
There
I would-
others?
I would probably say there's few.
Is Tufts like the premier place if you want
But
to
it's not, yeah, Tufts comes off as like the premier silk lab when it comes to that type of research, because my partner Kaplan,
Yeah.
he has hundreds of patents associated with silk.
So, okay. So they were familiar also because you mentioned before off camera that there was you have patents and whatnot. So
Yeah.
they were used to that whole.
They were used to the whole process. It made it a little easier because they knew how to go about it. So because of that, we were able to get a provisional patent to allow us to work on it more, and also kind of let that part of like the process begin and get the ball rolling on that. And so now we filed our patent as of December, and it's just going through the final revisions.
So technically, I guess like Tufts is part of the patent.
Tufts is in on the patent too. Yeah.
That's cool that you're working with Tufts.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You have Dr. Kugel.
Mhm.
Kugel or
Kugel?
So sorry.
Yeah, we
So
have Dr.
you
Kugel.
have Dr. Kugel doing
Kaplan.
like he's like the principal investigator.
Yeah.
And you have Dr. Kaplan, who's the PhD guy.
Mhm.
And then we have you, who's more of like the business.
Yeah, so I came in with like the business mindset of like, okay, we can actually make a business behind this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's like my contribution
Okay.
essentially, and that's what I'm doing now. So right now we're trying to raise money to actually begin the process of building a business behind this.
And what's the process of raising money like?
It's difficult. It's so difficult. Like right now, what we're doing is creating a pitch deck to pretty much tell investors like, this is what we do, this is who we are, this is why you should invest in this technology. And so it's a very curated way to ask for money because you're telling a story. And at this stage of where we're at, it's more of an idea than like, because we don't have any revenue. We don't have like a final product to say this is shelf ready. So when we go to investors, we're saying, we're the founders. This is an idea we have. We have like tangible things to back our idea in this tech.
Like if you get the amount of money you're requesting, like it's gonna work.
Yeah, I believe that's gonna work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so basically, using the capital in Tufts, they only fund like the research patent part.
Right. Exactly. So they were like funding like the beginning stages of like the proof of concept essentially.
Got it.
Yeah.
Do you so have you started this pitching process yet, or you're still working on?
So I kind of started because I pitch it like even just this, talking about it. I was blogging about it. I talked to a few investors about it who are friends, other founders of other businesses.
Yeah.
And they all love the idea. They've all expressed some sort of interest of like, oh yeah, like when you are finished with the deck, send it over. Like I would love to take a look. Or I know people who would be interested in something like this. So I have a lot of people in the pipeline who are just waiting to look at the deck to decide for themselves like, oh, okay, this is something that. But the way that I tell the story and when I'm talking to them, they're like, oh, this seems like a really cool idea. People are starting to more realize the importance of sustainability just in general. Yeah. And so it's like really good timing.
Let's go like 20 years, okay, or 30 years. Do you think everyone's going to be using?
No, I think this just allows people the option. Okay. And by that time, it's hopefully so comparable to like traditional plastic that like people will make the conscious decision to say, okay, this is a similar price. This looks exactly the same, feels the same, does the same thing. But it's better for the environment, and I don't have to think about recycling it. It's gonna do that part of the job for me, like that convenience.
Do you think it will be able to be combined with the electric toothbrushes?
I think eventually we could get there.
Okay.
That would take a lot of fine tuning, and like right now we're starting basic. We're doing
like just the head part, obviously.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're doing like the basic, like the toothbrush, obviously, combs, razors, packaging, hygiene appliances. Most of plastic production is in packaging, like over 40%. So that's another big market. Agriculture is another market we're looking at.
Well, so it is highly possible that at the end, this isn't even really a mainly dental company.
No, it's not. So we started as a toothbrush company, and the name at the time was just like Silk. It was just SLK,
That's
and
a sick
so
name.
yeah, I thought it was a cool name. It was a
Yeah.
cool name. And now we've transitioned after having a few talks because we were in talks with a really big, well-known name company about licensing this tech for the toothbrush. But they gave a lot of really good feedback, and they said, this is a really good big market. You can do a lot with this. Like, why don't you build it out a little bit more and like let us know, once you get there.
Who said this?
I won't say who it is.
No, like what kind of company was it?
It's like a big manufacturer of like a lot of different like oral hygiene appliances, and also just like lotions and things like that.
So they said your idea is too good. Like, don't license it.
They thought it was a really good idea, but like not equitable for just one product. Because we went to them just trying to sell them the toothbrush idea.
Okay.
And so now we're expanding into all commodity plastics, like I said, all those things: packaging, agriculture, consumer goods.
Would the bristle itself also be made of silk?
Yeah, that would be something that we would look into later down the line. But yeah, ideally that would be made out of silk. But it's like, okay, if we're going to make razors, we're not making the razors out of silk. You know what I mean? So there's different aspects of different products that we'll have to like alter for the sake of like the purpose and of the product itself.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess a razor made out of silk.
Right, exactly.
And then you mentioned too, you can like you were talking about how you can put the plastic coating over.
Yeah, we can put like so the process that allows this technology to break down on its own is one, the way that we process it, and two, what we put in it. And so we put a biocompatible enzyme essentially, or a catalyst, to make it break down when we want, based on the concentration of that enzyme that we put in there. So if we put,
let's break that down.
Yeah.
So you're saying you put in enzymes into the silk.
Into the silk,
So
right?
each silk product
has a certain concentration of enzyme in it, which will dictate when it breaks down or not.
Okay. So you can control it so that it either breaks down in 1 month or 1 year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that's.
Yeah. So that was the idea of like the toothbrush. We can make it break down in 6 months. And then it creates a recurring revenue model where you have to get a new toothbrush now.
Why 6 months and not a year?
I mean, just the concept of like, you need to change your toothbrush every 6 months kind of thing. But we can also program it to break down in a year, 2 years.
What's the range? Like, what's the shortest you can make it break down, and the longest?
We can make it break down in 6 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the longest?
3 years, probably.
3 years?
Yeah.
And
It's shelf stable otherwise. So like, if we were to put this, like if I have a prototype, if we were to put it in a dry room, and I still have that same prototype that we created 2 years ago, it's still the same.
Or 10 years.
10 years, exactly.
So it's only once you add the catalyst that
it will start to break down on its own.
So this could essentially work for, I'm just thinking like airplanes or hotels, like you just give it like a 6 day.
Yeah,
or maybe
I mean that's another thing
month.
too. Like that's one of our go-to-market strategies is to go to hotels, hospitals, schools, to give them these products who have a lot of high turnover, to promote sustainability, and we can also match them at the price that they're probably paying right now.
And you're saying it just goes poof.
It doesn't go poof. It starts to break down once like it reaches a certain threshold.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's no longer usable. So then you throw it away. But then over time, I would say maybe 3 to 6 months, it's poof gone.
Yeah. And where are all the plastic toothbrushes ending up now?
All over, everywhere.
It's like the ocean.
On the side of the road, the oceans, the forests, like third world countries, like, and infiltrating, those ecosystems.
Yeah. And there's no way you can, like, plastic water bottles are recyclable.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, like, these things are recyclable, but it takes a lot of manpower to actually do it.
Yeah.
And two, people aren't recycling them the right way. So I think it's only 9% of plastics actually being recycled properly.
So basically, we either have to teach everyone how to recycle properly
Right.
to get to 100%, or we just use the soap.
Or we use Syber. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, so the company name is Syber, and it's spelled Syber, which is a play on silk fiber, but also it's a play on cyber with a C in terms of like the tech.
And how do you manage like being like the CEO of a tech biomedical engineering startup with being a dentist?
Yeah, I mean, I am a full-time dentist, Monday through Friday, but then I occasionally have some random Wednesdays off.
Yeah.
So anytime that I'm not being a dentist, I'm working on this. So, you know, my day looks like I go to the gym early in the morning, I work until 5, I come home, I cook dinner, and then I work on my startup for a few hours, and then I go to bed. And then if I'm not working, I spend most of the day, like on a Wednesday, if I'm not working, I go to a coffee shop and I work on that all day. Mm-hmm. Weekends, if I'm not hanging out with friends, I'm doing that. I'm working on my startup.
When do you think the product will be ready?
I think we can be ready in 18 months after funding. After funding. Because that's what I'm giving ourselves the runway for, is 18 months to have shelf-ready products.
Wow.
Yeah.
Basically, and do you already have like a manufacturing facility?
We have a couple people in the pipeline, but it's more so like there's like some bidding involved and things like that. So.
But the tech is pretty much there.
Yeah, the tech is there. Yeah.
It's just the refinement.
Right. Exactly. And so we need manpower, and we have to pay for that manpower.
What are you gonna call it? Do you know, the toothbrush itself?
I mean, so the company is going to be Syber Biomaterials. Mm-hmm. So all these products are going to be products of Syber Biomaterials.
And you already set up the LLCs and everything?
C Corp.
C Corp?
Yeah.
You did all that?
In the process, yeah.
Wow. Did you like learn yourself that as well?
Yeah, I had to learn all that myself, yeah.
Wow.
How to do it.
That's great.
I also listen to like a lot of business podcasts and read a lot of business books and stuff, so helps, you know, to see, you know, other people do it and how they do it.
When you meet someone, do you say you're a dentist or you're the CEO of a...
No, I say I'm a dentist.
Yeah.
I say I'm a dentist.
For now.
Yeah, for now. Until I can like really get this up and going, because still, you know, as much as I believe in it, like it's not anything until I can find other people to believe in it and fund it and all that stuff. So.
Do you see yourself? I mean, I can see you. What's the word? Slowing down, obviously, to focus on this more.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself fully quitting dentistry, or you're always going to do a little bit?
I feel like I would always do a little bit, like maybe a day or, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I love what I do. I love dentistry.
Yeah.
And I love just, you know, spending time with the patients and helping the patients. So I don't think I would ever step away 100%. Mm-hmm. But I know that time is coming.
Yeah. And where, if people want to learn more, do you guys have like a website, or if people want to invest, you have?
So we're gonna have a couple ways that people can invest later. Yeah. So right now we're being very particular about who we let in now, because we don't want just money. We want money and advice.
Like strategic partners.
Yeah, we want strategic partners. So you know, we're kind of letting people in only at a certain amount, and also we're not letting just anyone in. Yeah. So.
And what about, like, do you guys have a website or anything? Or
no, we have no website, no branding or anything. I made the logo.
You said the blog post.
Yeah, I just have the blog post, which is my personal blog.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of just like a blog that's kind of built around just like this concept of building in public, where it just like kind of holds you accountable, yourself at least, to say like, okay, this is what this looked like, this is what I dealt with, and then also it's like almost like a, you know, like an internet diary sort of thing too. So, yeah, I just blog about it in that way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have any, like, advice for, I don't know, people that kind of want to take this path as well?
I mean, honestly, like, it's super intimidating to, like, go into something like this that, like, you really have no idea, like, whereas, like, everything prior for dentistry is very structured. It's like, you're in school for this long, this is what you're going to learn, this is how you do it, this is the steps, A through Z. Whereas, like, being a founder and entrepreneur, there's, like, no one way. There's no one right way. Yeah. So, like, one thing that I have to keep reminding myself is to just, like, keep trying and keep going. And so, like, that would be my biggest advice, is just, like, you just have to go for it. You're never gonna do it if you don't start, you know. So like that's the biggest thing. It's just like being able to start, and then you build momentum, and you know you complete one task, and then it's 10 tasks, and then you know by then you're like at this part where you're like, okay, I'm in the midst of raising now. I'm gonna be raising maybe in the next month or two. So that didn't just. I mean, it took me 4 years, but you know I got here.
Crazy.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, man.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Donnie.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you, guys.